Yeah, 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 Urko. Hey, 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 look. Yo, what's up, y'all? I go by the name of Steph Urko, and welcome to another episode of Millennial Dungeon. How's everybody doing this beautiful weekend? I know I'm having a great weekend. It's kind of rainy in Philadelphia, but we making the best of it. So today I got a special guest, and it goes by the name of Amira. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Steph?
And I'm kicking it like a donkey, but I'm also trying to be funky. You know?
You know?
Yeah, you already know. You never heard that, did you?
Never ever, first time.
But how you doing?
I'm good. Like you said, it's been rainy. I've been trying to stay awake, but I'm here. I can't complain.
Nice. And I appreciate you for being a guest. I know you had a lot to do. You know, you had a busy weekend. You know, everybody's busy this weekend. So I appreciate you
Mother's
for coming on.
Day, everything.
Yeah. So obviously we already talked about this before. So you already know the topic. And we're going to be talking about Kevin Samuels. So to give a brief little synopsis. So Kevin Samuels was basically a famous YouTube creator on YouTube and other social media platforms. And basically, he talked about relationship issues that are going on in society today. Now, Kevin Samuels has been making videos for years now, but I discovered him like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, with the infamous you're just above average, you're not above average. You remember that video, right? And
Yeah.
like ever since that went viral, everybody's been talking about him. He's made a whole business on YouTube and getting people to call in and ask him for relationship advice. And what
Mhm.
a lot of people don't know, he was an image counselor like before he even started YouTube. So like he was into marketing and stuff. So he knows what beauty standards are and like what certain image for different companies looks like. So like people always came to him and asked him like relationship advice on how to be better in relationships, and it was mostly women. But he also helped guys too. And what Kevin Samuels was well known for is being bluntly honest, like giving like the cold hard facts about certain things. Like if you were looking dusty, he was telling you, "Ma'am, you look dusty. What are you doing?" You know
Right.
what I'm saying? He just told it how it is. He didn't like try to sugarcoat anything because he wanted people to hear the hard truth so that way they can get better. Because I feel like nowadays in this generation, and you know it too, sometimes I feel like we try to be as sensitive as possible or we try to sugarcoat things to save other people's feelings, you know? But it's like sometimes the hard cold truth is what gets things done. And I unfortunately a few days ago, Kevin Samuels passed away from cardiac arrest, you know,
Yeah.
and he died at 56. And you know, it's been people with mixed feelings all on social media, how they feel about it. You know, it's been some good and it's been a lot of bad as well. So I just wanted to ask you, how do you feel about it when you first heard about him?
Well, first I was shocked, like just to hear about his death, but to take it back before then I ran across Kevin Samuels maybe like a year. Well, when the whole video came out that was viral about him like calling the woman, like she labeled herself a seven, and
Mm-hmm.
like everybody was like going crazy off that viral video. I heard of him, but I never like dove into his content until about a year ago. Um, just like browsing Instagram, we were in COVID, so like I was bored and I just ran across his content, and it was just really interesting to hear his viewpoints when it comes to like dating and relationships, because like you said, he didn't have no filter, he didn't sugarcoat it, like he gave it straight to you, raw, no chaser. So just hearing that like he passed away and the mixed reviews, like it's crazy because I like became a fan over the course of a year. And like I feel like I just literally came across one of his videos like 2 days ago. I was watching his videos while I was working. And then to hear the news that he passed away, like it was just like, dang, like, the saying, like you hear one day, going the next. But, he was impactful, whether people liked him or not. He definitely like left his mark on the social media world. So, yeah.
So let me ask you, like you said, you found out about him like a year ago, right?
Hmm.
What made you a fan about his content? Like, what drew you into his content?
The fact that he was honest,
Mm-hmm.
being a person that's honest myself, like just I was able to recognize what he was saying and the points he was making without taking it personal. And like you said, not a lot of people can handle that. So, you know, just his honesty, like that was the main thing that drew me in. And of course, like the little antics, the little like sound effects he would have and stuff like that. Of course, like the humor side to it. But just his honesty and just the whole like concept of dating and relationships, especially when it comes to the Black community and just when it comes to like marriage and how we can do better. Like I never seen anyone do it the way that he did it. Like you said, like it's other people out here that like have the soft approach to when they talk about like dating and relationships, but Kevin was like right on point. Like if you didn't like it, he didn't care. So that's what drew me into him.
Yeah,
How about you? Like how did you come across Kevin?
I'm probably the same thing about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, probably on YouTube, because my friend sent me something. I'm like, what is this? Then I send the link, and I'm not gonna lie to you. When he first sent me that thing, he was like, "Ma'am, what do you rate yourself?" I think I'm a 7. Ma'am, you are not a 7.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was funny and stuff, and I'm like, damn, why he's so cold? Why he's so cold? But then I found his YouTube channel. I'm like, I gotta watch this dude, and I'm starting to see like the other advice he's giving women. I'm like this dude can be cold and harsh sometimes, but like I get it, because like he was hitting people with facts, and me like being the kind of person I am, I love someone who states facts. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, I know you watch like the Marvel movies, like Iron Man. Like you know
Yeah.
how Tony Stark is when it comes to he's a genius, but he's also can be like straight to the point, like
Right.
show no filter. That's what he reminded me of. So I like that about him. And it's like not only was he straight to the point, for me, it was like he was just stating facts that a lot of people would rather sweep under the rug about relationships, because, especially in this generation, because we all know how complicated dating can be in this generation, especially when it comes to Black men and Black women. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us, especially a lot of Black men, we're being taught to be chivalrous and gentlemen to Black women and stuff like that, as you should be and stuff like that. But nowadays, we live in a different time of dating. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of women aren't as traditional as they used to be back in the day. So that whole thing approach of being chivalrous and being a gentleman is kind of outdated, like like an iPhone or something like that. It's almost
Right.
outdated. So Kevin Samuels kind of taught men how to go accordingly, because I feel like a lot of women, not all, obviously, but a lot of women, they think that just because they are women, they think that, oh, they deserve the best quality man. Well, I don't have to do anything for him, but I deserve the world from him. And Kevin Samuels was realistic about things like, ma'am, you have to be realistic here. You are not a 9 or 10. You can't be asking
Right.
for this
You're
high
not a
value.
Rihanna.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You're not a Rihanna. You're not Beyonce. And these women's like, no, they were so in denial about it and just trying to argue and fight about it. And he was the kind of like, hold on, man, this is my show. I'm gonna cut you off if you don't act right. And this is like, he was almost like a parent or something, like when he talked to people, but he also showed that level of respect. So I guess my question for you is, why do you think it was so much pushback from a lot of women, especially obviously he talked to all women, but especially a lot of Black women? Why was it so much pushback, do you think?
I think, like we were saying, because it was the truth. Like a lot of women in general, but I'm going to speak on behalf of Black women, I guess, just don't have success when it comes to relationships. And not just like romantic relationships, but just the relationships they have with other females, the relationships that they have with their parents. Like it's not what we want it to be. So when you have a Black man on a large platform telling you that, you know, you're not as hot as you thought you were, like it hits you different. And then what makes it, you know, more hard or a tough pill to swallow is that what he's saying is like, you know, a lot of Black women can relate to it, but they're not honest with themselves about it. They still think that they have all the time in the world and like, oh, you know, the whole like I'm a prize thing, which is, you know, I don't want to get in too deep into it, but it's just like when you have a mirror face to you, it's like, dang, you really looking at yourself. And as we know, like women, we're not the best at admitting our flaws or admitting when we're wrong. So I think that's where a lot of the pushback comes from, just that whole like giving you the truth. And you got to look at yourself and look at your situation and be like, you know what, like I'm not as hot as I thought I was. And that's okay. Like it's always room for improvement. But I think that's why a lot of women have an issue with Kevin Samuels.
I agree. And a lot of people try to use the thing of, oh, because I didn't like the way he talked. And but it's like you said before, like a lot of women, not all obviously, but a lot of them, they don't like to turn the mirror on because let's be honest here, we really never saw somebody turn the mirror on a lot of women like Kevin Samuels did, as far as like being realistic with yourself. And I feel like that's why a lot of women had that kind of pushback against him, because I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of women are used to, well, just women in general are used to men telling them what they want to hear, and I feel like that's, as men, that's what we're taught to do. Like
Mhm.
example, if a girl said, "Babe, this make me look fat," we every man know damn well we ain't gonna be honest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We just, no, babe, girl, you look like
You
Rihanna.
agree. Hmm.
Exactly. You look good. But it's like Kevin Samuels like, ma'am, you know damn well you look big. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, ma'am, you need to work on yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the biggest things that Kevin really preached is accountability. Because he not only talked about women, he also was talking about men too. And a lot of people forget about that. Because if you look at some of his videos, he was coming at men. What were you about to say?
I know on his he broke it down like one day. He was like basically like his Instagram was more so for the women, and then his YouTube was like for the men. So on his YouTube, he would like talk to the guys and stuff like that. And like you said, like a lot of people would just see his stuff on Instagram, and that's all where he's talking about women. So it was like, oh, he's bashing women, this and that. But if you look at the videos of the guys that he talked to, like he letting these guys know too, like, oh, you shouldn't be worried about dating. You should be getting your money up. You should be, working on your situation before you pursue women. So I do think that he had a nice balance, but he did become more popular with his topics surrounding women. So
Yeah, and I feel like those are the videos that actually made him blow up. And it's like for me, it's just like I feel like he was more helping people get back together in relationships, especially black couples. If I'm going
mhm,
to be honest with you, because the reality is, even though I'm not going to say that white couples or Asian couples or Hispanic couples don't go through their mess or anything, before, like you said before, it is tension when it comes to black men and black women more when it comes to marriage and relationships. So I
mhm,
feels like he was doing this to be the one to say, look, I'm going to be the one to take the heat, but we got to take accountability from both sides. And
right,
like I said before, he was making videos on men and women, so it wasn't like he was just attacking women like social media tries to pin it to make it seem like he was like, oh, he was just a mean person. No, he wanted to do better. He wanted couples to do better, especially in the black community, so that way we can see a higher rating of black people being together, of black marriages surviving.
right.
And it's like a lot of people were so focused on his tone that they didn't really see it. It's kind of like, we all know, like a basketball coach, if he's talking to a teammate or a ball player that's not performing well, obviously he's going to give him that tough love. Like, yo, what is you doing? Like, you got to get your stuff together. That's what Kevin Samuels was. But a lot of people now in this generation, they just don't want to hear the truth. And they want people to like baby feed them what they want to hear. But it's like, same time, you don't grow. And that's what he was trying to really get people to listen to. So.
Yeah, I agree. What has your experience been in terms of like dating and relationships in regards to like Kevin's advice? Like, do you feel like it resonates with you, or like you're not really on that, like you're not really his audience that he talks to in terms of men?
As far as like resonating with me, it to some extent it can, as certain aspects, not all, obviously, but as far as when it comes to just casual dating nowadays as an average dude, because like like I said before, it's like dating is very complicated. So it's just like I've been on dates with girls that I'll be like, so what's your type, or what kind of guys that you go for? What's your standards? There's like, oh well, he gotta make this kind of money, he gotta have this, he gotta have this kind of good, he gotta drive this kind of car because I can't drive no hoopty. I don't want to be seen in that. He can't have no baby mama dramas. And I'm like, okay, with my little pen and notepad. Okay, let me write this down. Let me write this down. And okay, and then when I ask them what are they bringing to the table, it's just like, what you mean? I said, okay, but what do you bring as a woman to please him? Well, I'm
Mhm.
just me. And these are literally conversations I've had with women and stuff like that. As far as like what are they bringing, it's more so what he gonna do for me, and maybe I'll do what for him. You know what I'm saying? It's not even I will,
Yeah.
it's maybe, and it's like a lot of dudes go through that.
Mhm.
So
So you said dating is complicated. You
mhm.
think it's complicated? What makes it complicated?
As far as like so many standards, and on this podcast, we always talk about accountability, you know what I'm saying? And we always talk about what's fair is fair and being equal. But I feel like when it comes to dating nowadays, it's so complicated now because there's so many standards and now
Mhm,
in dating, especially like when it comes to black men and women. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? And we talked about this on previous episodes too. There's nothing wrong with having standards. Everybody needs to have standards and preferences or have that line where you have a cross. But nowadays, especially with social media, there's so many standards that you really have to live up to, especially as men, in order to be seen as a good man. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? No, there's no like being a blue collar or average dude is not even seen as good enough no more. And
Right.
the reason I say that is because it's plenty of good men out here that are just regular dudes that would just want to take care of their family, provide, go home and do this. And it's women that look past them every day because oh, they're not exciting enough, or he don't have enough edge, or he not like this, or he not this tall. And it's just like they get with the guy that's like the edge, has the edge, or has that kind of mindset. But then when they get their heart broken, they want to say, "Oh, it's not enough good men out here." And I'm not saying all women do that, but we've seen that a lot, and I know you've seen that on girls that say that a lot too. When it comes to saying there's not a good enough good men out here.
Yeah. So it's like unrealistic expectations. And I think that's what the sole purpose of like Kevin Samuels' platform is, just like reminding people that, like, if you're a regular 9 to 5 working woman, whatever, why can't you get with a regular 9 to 5 working guy? Like, why do you have to go for, I guess, the best of the best type of thing? So it was definitely interesting to like hear his viewpoints and just see the women and men come on the show and talk about it. But I think to some extent that's true, because I don't think dating is complicated, but like you said, it's just too many people running around with like unrealistic expectations of each other, so it's tough.
So my next question for you is, do you think there are double standards in dating on both sides, or is only one sided?
Double standards in terms of what?
And as far as dating, so I'll give you an example. If a woman say, oh yeah, I want a dude that makes this kind of money and has this kind of house or has this kind of car or this type of height, he's this tall. They're praised by their friends like, yes, girl, set your standards and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
If a man says, well, I need a girl that has this or that or has no kids and stuff like that, it's always some kind of why does that matter, or why
Yeah.
does it matter what she looks like, why can't she have kids, da, da, da. Is that the kind of man you are? Why are you so you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We
Yeah, it's
see that all the
definitely
time.
double standards. Like you said, like to answer the question, it's definitely double standards. It's not fair, especially for men, because not only do y'all have to worry about yourself and like focus on the things that y'all gotta do, you also have to worry about, your girlfriends, your wife, your kids, everything. So it can be a lot. I don't know, like I don't know why we're like that, because I know sometimes I'm like that with my boyfriend. I'll just be like, "Oh well, what about this and what about that?" He's just like, "No, Amira, like you're not being realistic."
Yeah.
So it's just tough. Like I don't know where it came from. It's just like at the end of the day, people need people. So it shouldn't be this whole thing of like, "Oh well, you need to do this for me," or I need to benefit off of you. It's just like if you got a man and he say that he want a woman that's a size 6, you ain't a size 6, you gotta respect that. Like
Hmm.
you can't just expect it to be like, oh, you should accept me for me when you're not accepting the man for who he is. So it's definitely double standards in dating.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's one of the biggest problems. I agree with exactly what you said. For me, I think it's no reciprocation. You know what I'm saying? So because it's more so like what they gonna do for me, and maybe I'll see what I can do for them. And it's like I get it. Everyone has standards. Everyone has preferences. There's nothing wrong with that. You gotta draw the line somewhere. But at the same time, if you want the person that you want, you also gotta realize that one, you gotta make your standards realistic to meet, and two, at the same time, if you're looking for this high value person, like if a woman's looking for a high value man that is this good looking, has this kind of money, has this kind of car, has this kind of place, has this kind of mentality, doesn't have no baby mama drama, you got to realize that he's going to have standards of his own too, because you ain't going to be the only one that looking at him. He's going to have other options. So what about you is going to make you stand out from all them other options he's going to have? But and I hear like a lot of women, not all, obviously I keep saying that, but I hear a lot of women that say like, he's going to accept me for me. I know I'm a 10 for my personality, but how's he supposed to know that if you don't show that? You get what I'm saying?
And then it's like, if you're a 10, why are you single? That was my whole thing when like the women will call on a show and they're just calling to like voice their opinions. But it's just like, if you're so great and you got all this stuff going on, like, why aren't you married? Why aren't you even in a relationship? And then it's like, they'll just look like, well, I'm not ready, or I'm working on myself, or I'm not worried about that. Clearly you're worried about it if you're calling in, like something isn't right. And I think that's the bigger picture that people missing. Like, you're not as great as you think you are, because if you were, you wouldn't have any problem getting a good quality man, not a man that's just trying to Netflix and chill with you, not a man that's just trying to fly you out with like a good quality man. And that's the problem. You have a problem landing a good quality man. That's why you on the show. So
my you roll your eyes too, like this is bullshit. But my thing is this too, like one of the things I always laugh at too, the same woman that will be talking about him and stuff be the same ones that be calling in. And I think it's a service that you pay for to get his advice too, right?
Yeah, I think he does like one-on-one. Well, he did one-on-one coaching.
Yeah. So it's like, why are you spending your money to get his advice and then get mad when he gives you advice?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, what's the point of you calling in? And it's like you said, why are you single if you feel like you're this dime or you ready to get this high value man? Like I said, you have to be realistic. And it's like, as dudes, I'm not gonna lie to you, like we already have realistic standards for the most part. I feel like most men have most realistic standards because I feel like we face rejection more, which makes us realistic. So we know what we can and can't get. You know what I'm saying? So but I feel like a lot of women, they're not used to rejection as much as us. So it's just like when it comes to hearing, I'm not this, or like they're not good looking, I feel like they don't know how to handle that realistic point of view or handle that, oh damn, maybe I need to work on myself. They're just used to guys like coming to them and like giving them anything they want. You know what I'm saying? It's girls that are 6s or 5s that are used to getting guys sliding their DMs and telling them how beautiful they are. So they have that high quality mindset, thinking, oh, I'm the shit and no one can tell me nothing. Right. But the reality is, like you said before, sometimes we gotta admit that we wrong and it's okay. So I have my next question for you is, do you think it's hard for women to admit that they can be toxic as well?
I don't think so, because when I'm on social media, all I hear is women talking about how they toxic and, oh, I'm going to therapy or whatever like that. I don't think they have a problem admitting that they're toxic. They might have a problem identifying like toxic traits, like, anger or like just being vindictive, like all those different things that can cause a relationship to be toxic. I think a lot of women and a lot of people in general don't know how to identify those traits, but I do feel like they can admit when they are toxic. At least that's what I see. And just to go back to what you were saying before, like, I think, like you said, like men are realistic about the type of women they can get to a certain extent. But I think the issue that a lot of women are having when it comes to dating is that like you'll come across men that talk a good game, but then in the long run, like they're not serious or they're not trying to take you serious. And then women, we run into the issue of like, okay, we met a guy, we're trying to do like all these great things, we're trying to be supportive, we're trying to, just be that woman, be that wifey material. But then the guy that you're with, or the pattern of guys that you dated, it's like they're not serious. They don't want to be in a relationship, but you guys are doing relationship things. So I think that's where like the frustration comes in at, because I feel like, the men say they're ready or they say they want to do all these things, But like once you get into a relationship, it just becomes stagnant. So I just wanted to say that because I feel like that's like the whole separation between why men and women can't like cooperate, you know?
Have you ever friend zoned a good guy?
Yeah. But that's when I didn't know any better. Like, yeah, because you know, when you young, well, at least for women, like when we're young, we just want to go with what's fun, like not necessarily what's good for us. So it's just
Mhm.
like when you're young, you know, you want the bad boy, you want the one that look good and all of that. But then as you get older, you realize that it ain't good for you, you know. But I think a lot of women they realize that too late, so they are like in their late 30s, 40s, still chasing after the bad guys or like the good looking ones, and it's like just because they look good don't mean they're good for you. So it's just unfortunate that a lot of women, especially Black women, they they figure that out too late, and then you are old and alone and don't have nothing really to show for it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm glad you admitted that too, because I feel like a lot of people women would like have pushback on it. It's like you said before. It's like when they're younger, they chase after the exciting, the bad boy or the toxic dudes, like the futures and stuff like that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So and they kind of curb like the Russell Wilsons or the good guys and stuff that want to be there for them because they're not exciting or they don't have the edge. But like
Yeah.
they don't really appreciate the good guys. So years later, after they realize they can't change the toxic dudes, because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day about this too. Like, I feel like in this generation, a lot of women love toxic dudes. They just don't like the fact that they can't change toxic dudes. You get what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because a lot of women like say they don't like toxic. Or they say like all men, it's all men's fault. These relationships ain't working, or like men are toxic. They ain't shit. But then you still chase after, or you just let these dudes pursue you. So if you know if they're so toxic or bad, why is he your boyfriend? Why is he your baby father? You got to be honest with you. Like we you can play the blame game all we want to, but at the end of the day, that mirror is in your bathroom, and sometimes you got to use it. Sometimes not just for brushing your teeth, you got to use it
Yeah.
for yourself.
Mhm.
So
And you gotta know, like you, like that's what you chose. Like
mhm.
it might not, it might not look good, but you do have to acknowledge that, like the people that you dealt with in your life, like you chose them. You know. So.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I see so on like we see the rise of podcasts and YouTube videos and stuff like that, and it's like talking about this stuff, but it's like you still see a lot of women doing that the same stuff, and but like it's always still that pushback. You know what I'm saying? Until like you see like maybe a female on YouTuber or podcaster say the same thing, and they be like, "Oh, now I see what she's talking about. I can see that." You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I feel like it's also a double standard when it comes to like I guess telling it how it is, because I feel like women can say men ain't shit or men are toxic or they need to get this stuff together. But when it comes to men doing the same for women, it always turns into argument, or you must hate women, or you must hate us, or you must do this. And it's just
Mhm.
like we live in a generation where we talk about equality on all on both of the sides. So if we're so equal, why can't we equally critique each other? Do
Right.
you see that double standard a lot?
I do. And like you said, like I don't really know what's the solution to that, but you know, it definitely needs to change, especially if everybody wants to be equal and like, oh, we should be treated the same as men. Like men have opinion too. And you know, we should be open to it. So I agree with you on that. I just think it's going to be interesting to see like what these next couple of weeks gonna look like on social media, because it's other relationship gurus popping up already trying to, you know, give out the same information that Kevin was, but they didn't do it like him. So it's just gonna be interesting to see like, you know, what these next few like conversations about dating and relationships gonna look like without, you know, Kevin's platform. So
Did you see some of the comments on when they was talking about him when they heard he died?
I did hear that like a lot of women, Black women, I'm ashamed to say, but they were like celebrating it. And it's never a good thing to celebrate when somebody passed away, no matter how much you dislike them or didn't agree with them. And honestly, like he was just saying words, like he was just saying his opinion. So it's like, why are so many people upset about one person spreading their opinion? Like it was never that serious ever.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like it's not, I don't care how much you hated somebody. At the end of the day, you should not be celebrating someone's death because he had a child. He also had family too. That's probably
Mhm.
mourning right now. And I hope they didn't see those comments too, because
Yeah.
that just makes it even worse for them. And
Yeah.
back to what you were saying about like how do we make it better? Is obviously I think it's simple. Learn how to take accountability from both sides. Like I said before, obviously I feel like men are willing to take more accountability, but I feel like it's always very pushback when it comes to women, especially when they hear it from men. So if we both like put down our guards, especially women, know how to learn how to put that guard down and actually take our that advice or be accountable. Okay, I admit this is toxic, or I admit I
Mhm.
can be immature, or I can be doing this wrong. How can I be better for my spouse like I expect him to be better for me? Then I
Mhm.
think it will get better when we actually learn how to turn the mirrors on ourselves. Where a lot of women learn how to take accountability of that, but unless they do that, then men are going to act accordingly, and then they still going to act accordingly, and then the shit is going to get worse. Because I was
Yeah.
having a conversation too with somebody that if we talk about how complicated relationships are now. If you think relationships are so bad now, imagine how it's going to be in the next 10 to 20 years.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to get younger and younger.
Hmm.
It's, it's going to be a girl like like 10 years old on talking about where my Birkin bag.
Right.
Sis, you in fourth grade.
Even you ain't even there yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think yeah, like you said, it's just being cooperative. I think as women we have to learn how to not take things so personal. And if you have a partner that's a good guy and he's doing what he needs to do, like you don't need to nitpick at him, like you need to work with him because that's what's important. Like people are important, family are important, like relationships are important. Like it's not all about chasing a bag or oh, I have all this education. Like who are you gonna you talking about generational wealth? How you gonna build that when you don't even got a man or you don't even got a girl? So I just think, once people as Black people we learn how to work together within relationships, we'll see a lot more success. And then this whole social media stuff and we just gotta get that out of our system because this ain't that. Like everybody not living in luxury.
Exactly. Like you said before, perfectly. This ain't that. Like we gotta do better. Just gotta get that. Like I was just looking at those comments and just seeing like the hate that a lot of people were, like a lot of women were saying about him dying. A lot of Black women I see, not all, but a lot of them were just celebrating his death. It's just like shows a lot of hate that you had in your heart about him. It's like, was it really that deep? Were you celebrating a man's death? Like,
Mhm.
and think that's cute. It's just like it's not, because if we're going to be honest, if it was flipped another way around, if their favorite like female podcaster was to die, it'll be a different story if men were celebrating that death. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So I have a question for you.
Mhm.
So obviously, we be talking about Kevin Samuel on videos, and we see mostly it's about him going on talking to women and stuff, and they asking him for relationship advice. And you see when he like straightforward about it, they don't like the answer, and they get mad and stuff like, "Well, I'm a high value woman," and when he questions them about it, then they have nothing to say. And we obviously like a lot of women on the internet, even women. I'm pretty sure you met women that said they didn't like Kevin Samuels. So the question I have for you is, if you had to be a spokesperson, like let's say, because you're a fan of Kevin Samuels, like you said, if you had to be a spokesperson on his side, what is something that you would tell women to convince them to be fans like you?
That's a good question because the women that don't like Kevin Samuels, it's like deeper than just like they don't like him. It's like I don't know, they just take it real personal. I would say I don't know, just like have an open mind. Cause like, oh my gosh, we were taught so wrong, like especially Black women, like a lot of our families, at least I can speak for myself, like a lot of our families are just the majority are women. So it's just like just to keep repeating that cycle where everybody is single, nobody is married. It's just like if you want those things, if you want to be married, if you want children, if you want a legacy, if you want wealth, all of those things, like you have to do it with a man. And you have to do it with a Black man if that's what you're trying to get. And it's just like, you can't sit here and like nitpick, like, okay, well, he has to be this way, or he has to look this way, or he has like, no, like you get what you get. Honestly, you get what you get because how it is out here, like Black men are dying, they're getting killed by the police, they're getting incarcerated. So it's just like if you're, if your preference is a Black man, like we have to learn how to work together, and we have to be open-minded, and we just have to get rid of all the things that we thought we learned from our mothers and grandmothers because they taught us wrong. Like, we have to work with Black men. We have to get along, be cooperative, listen, let down our guard, be vulnerable, be feminine if that's what we really want. Black women say all the time, I don't want to have to work so hard. I don't want to have to be the provider for my family. Let your man do that. You don't have to control everything. You don't have to talk back. Like, I know that was like one of my things when I got into my relationship, like my mouth, just talking. Listen to him. It's okay. He can lead you. You just have to let him. And then so I don't know. I think that's what Kevin was teaching us. He was teaching women to, like, you don't always have to say what's on your mind. You don't have to be so opinionated. You don't have to be so hard. As women, we don't have to be that way. So that's what I would say. And it's just like, again, they don't want to hear it because they're so used to just being the opposite of what being a woman is, which is soft. Like, we're supposed to be, we're women, we're soft, we're nurturers, we're lovers, we're givers. But it's just, we're so used to doing everything ourselves. And Kevin is just trying to say, like, if you want the type of lifestyle that you want, you gotta let go of the teachings that your mom and your grandma and all them taught you, independent, all that, because it's not working. It's not working. So that's what I would say.
Whenever I catch a case or something like that, I'm gonna need you to be my lawyer because you said
okay.
you hit it right on the nail. You hit it right on the nail. I wish I had a hammer right now. Hit it right on the nail. And what I would like to add to that perfect example is just learn how to have like tough skin. Because nowadays a lot of people, especially a lot of women, don't want to have tough skin with certain things. And it's like people always say that you need to be hardworking or determined when it comes to being successful. That's true, but you also gotta learn to have tough skin to learn how to take criticism. Because a lot of women don't know how to take criticism when it comes to certain things. Because, like you said, was a perfect example. But if I was to say everything you said, all of a sudden I would say, "Oh, you must hate women. You must hate Black." No, it's just if you want to be better at something. Sometimes, if you're doing something wrong, you have to learn how to take that criticism to be better. Like, you don't want, because the truth of the matter is, if people don't want you to be better, they're not going to say nothing at all. And that's something that even me, I had to learn because I was hard headed as a kid. And so if somebody was telling me some shit, I'm like, man, I don't try to hear this. But like as I got older, they were saying it because they wanted me to be better. Because other people on the street ain't going to want me to be successful or be better. So if women learn how to actually take criticism and not have like be sensitive about everything, and like you said, just listen sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It's like it will be so much better. And instead of just trying to fight men on everything. And I'm not trying to sit here and say men we're perfect, not by a long shot. But at the same time, as women, they have to admit they're not perfect too. Otherwise, shit ain't gonna get better. You get what I'm saying?
One segment that Kevin had that I really enjoyed, I think it was like titled like PhD or something like that. And he was just saying how, like, women, especially like educated Black women, they'll like go to school, take out loans, work hard, pay for their books, study, like be in all these different organizations, and then come out 4 or 5 years later with a degree, but they're not trying to put in that same work and effort into a man or into a relationship. But it's like, you have it in you. You done went to school, you done got your education, you done got your good job, you done got your good house, you done got all these great things. But the same effort that you putting into, I guess, like the outside appearance, you're not putting that into cultivating a successful, healthy relationship.
Yep.
And when I saw that segment, it was just like mind blowing because it's true. Like it's not that we don't want to do it, or it's just some type of like you said, pushback. Like how are you so successful? Like I said before, you're so successful, you're so beautiful, you're so well cultured and all of these things, but you don't have a man.
Mhm.
Something is wrong with it. And I get the whole, oh, you don't need a man and all that, but when you old, you need somebody. You need somebody to help you out. You need somebody to have your back. And it's just really sad that, the society we live in today, it specifically caters to Black women being independent. Oh, you don't need a man, girl. Oh, you can do that all by yourself. But Susie and Jessica and all of them, they're married, they have kids, and they go to work. Their husbands go to work, and they just one big happy family. But then, Keisha and we over here single. So yeah, work hard. Just how you work hard for them PhDs, work hard for your man too.
I agree, 100%. And it's like, and I like the example you use when you say like, I'm talking about I can do all bad by myself, because I hear a lot of women say that, and a lot of women say I can do all bad all by myself. Imagine if Michael Jordan had that same mindset, he would never want a ring. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's just like at the same time, it's like I get it, or there's nothing wrong be independent and strong, but at the same time, if you want the man that you want, you can't be 100% independent in a relationship, and that's facts. You know what I'm saying? You got to be dependent on your man sometime. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be like, I'm gonna do everything by myself, but I need a man. So what is he here for?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So, and a lot of times I feel like a lot of women say like, oh yeah, I have a PhD or I have this and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they just lead into that. You know what I'm saying? They lead with that saying like, oh, I'm a doctor and stuff, or I'm a lawyer and I don't need a man. Well, men don't care about this stuff, right?
They don't. Y'all really don't. That's the funny part.
I don't care nothing about you being a doctor. It's nice. It's nice to tell to my grandma, oh yeah, she a doctor. Ooh, she a doctor. Right. But it don't matter in the long run, because you having a PhD is not going to determine whether or not you're going to be a good wife. Just like me being rich is not going to determine if I'm going to be a good husband. It's more qualities that come with it. But like you said, the society just panders to a lot of women thinking, oh yeah, if you get an education, that means you're independent and that means you don't need a man. But it's like you said, it's other races, or Becky or the Asians or Hispanics that have men and have degrees and stuff like that, and they don't mind being submissive or like taking care of their men. They know how to do both, and it's in a lot of Black women to do that. But it's just like, oh, I'm not going to do it because that's not how I was raised. I didn't see my mom do that. Well, if you didn't see your mom doing that and you know it was messed up growing up, why can't you be the one to break that chain? You was the one to break the chain when it comes to being the first one to go to college. Why can't you be the one to break the chain when it comes to building a healthy family in a Black household? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it takes a lot of self-reflection, and there's a lot of like swallowing your pride and just like undoing everything that you was taught, and honestly like being cooperative. Like I said before, like you know how to interview for a job, you know how to talk nice to your boss, you know how to talk nice to the customers that's coming in. Why you can't talk nice to your man?
Message.
It's the same, it works the same way. And you'll get a better outcome with your man because he'll provide more for you. If you're cultivating a space to where, it's easy flowing and everything is good and, not perfect, but you're cultivating that freeing, soft space for your man to, go out to work and do what he needs to do, he's going to give it back to you. Exactly. So it's just like, it's no reason to fight him on certain things or honestly be hard-headed. You just gotta be soft and let a man do what a man needs to do.
I was talking to a friend about this the other day. Men will climb mountains literally just for a feminine woman. So that whole thing of I'm being independent and masculine and stuff like that, thinking, oh, that's going to attract them. I've never seen a man get attracted by that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, just know how to take accountability and just like put the work in. And don't just be like, oh yeah, I don't have to put in work to get a man. If you just be honest with yourself and be able to put the work in and say to myself, you know what, I have fucked up tendencies, and you know what, I need to fix this. Just like men have to do that every day, then I think things will be better. Instead of just saying like, okay, I have a problem and just letting shit keep going on. It's like getting a cut on your arm, or be like, damn, that shit really bleeding a lot. Yeah, but what you gonna do about it?
Right. You gotta go to the doctors. You gotta get it fixed. You gotta heal.
Exactly.
Like all of those things. And just one of the things I hear a lot of women saying, like, oh, I have to heal myself before I'm out here in a relationship and all of this stuff. But then you'll entertain the wrong things. Yep. And it's just like, I feel like that's where a lot of time gets wasted and all of that. Cause I know kind of was like, oh, if you're 35 and up, like you washed. And it's just like, women get out of relationships and just think they have to take all this time off and all this. Like, oh, I got to find out who I am. You don't really need that much time. You just need to get better at like picking and like knowing the signs and like you said, like holding yourself accountable and fixing your mess, like fixing your mess, dusting yourself off and trying again. That's all it is.
Oh, you quoting Aaliyah now. But yeah, and I feel like if anything can learn anything from Kevin Samuels, especially a lot of women, it's just like learning how, like you said, learning how to listen and just learning how to just have tough skin. Like, don't take everything so personal, be sensitive about it. Like I said before, sometimes you have to have tough skin and take criticism to grow. That just is what it is for anybody. No one's perfect. No, like you being pretty or you getting a 10,000 likes on that one picture you post on your Instagram does not make you a 10. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And we got to be honest. A lot of women have to be honest with that and learn how to take accountability for that. If they want if they really want things to change, or they want men to so-called change, like they say. So, Mira, I had a great time, and I appreciate you so much.
Me too, Steph. It was so good.
We definitely got to get you back on here because you was killing it. I need to have you as my lawyer.
Communications.
Exactly. There it is. But this has been another episode of the Millennial Dungeon. I go by the name of Steph, and we'll see you next time. Peace. Bye. Yeah. Ergo.